Hare Krishna everyone, we are continuing to read Teachings of Lord Chaitanya by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter 16, Conclusion of Teachings to Sanatana Goswami. Continuing to explain the Atmarama verse, Lord Chaitanya pointed out that the word Atma also indicates all varieties of the personality of Godhead. Generally, the personality of Godhead Himself, Kṛṣṇa, and His different expansions are all known as the personality of Godhead. Anyone who is engaged in devotional service of any form or expansion of the personality, Supreme Personality of Godhead, is also called Atmarama. All such devotees engage either in the regulative principles of devotional service or in devotional service in transcendental love. These two groups of devotees are each divided into three categories: eternal associates, those perfected in devotional service, and those newly engaged in devotional service. Newly engaged devotees can be divided into two groups: those who have already attained attachment for the Lord, and those who have not attained such attachment. When considered according to the two divisions of devotional service, namely due to attachment in transcendental love and under regulation, these classes of devotees become 8 in number. By following the regulative principles of devotion, the perfect associates of the Lord are further divided into 4 classes: the servants, the friends, the parental superiors, and the fiancés. Just as some devotees are perfected by the execution of devotional service, so some are eternally perfect. Of those following the regulative principles of devotional service, there are the advanced and the beginners, totaling 16 categories. And in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, there are also 16 types of devotees. Thus, the Atmaramas can be considered to exist in 32 divisions. If the words Muni, Nirgrantha, Cha, and Api are also applied to the 32 classes, then there are 58 different types of devotees. All these devotees can be described by one word: Atmarama. There may be many different kinds of trees standing in the forest, but the word tree describes them all. Thus, the Lord gave 60 different meanings to the Atmarama verse. In addition, He said that Atma means, quote, any embodied living entity, from the first living creature, Brahma, down to the end, unquote. He cited a verse from the 6th chapter of the Vishnu Purana, in which it is stated that all the energies of the Lord are spiritual. Although this is the case, the energy which is known as the source of the living entity is called spiritual, but the other energy, which is full of ignorance and is manifested in material activities, is called material nature. Even in the material world, in the material creation, the living entities are innumerable. if by chance a living entity in the material world can associate with a pure devotee, he can engage in the pure devotional service of Kṛṣṇa. Formerly, I thought of 60 different meanings for the Atmarama verse, the Lord told Sanatana Goswami. But here another meaning has come to my mind by your association. After hearing the different explanations of the Atmarama verse, Sanatana Goswami was struck with wonder, and he fell down in devotion at the feet of Lord Chaitanya. I understand that you are personally the Supreme Personality of Godhead Kṛṣṇa, Sanatana said, and by your breathing have come many manifestations of Vedic literature. You are the teacher of Srimad Bhagavatam, and you best know all the meanings of the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is not possible for others to understand the confidential meanings of Srimad Bhagavatam without your mercy. Unquote. Do not try to eulogize me in that way, the Lord told Sanatana. Just try to understand the real nature of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the sound representation of the Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Kṛṣṇa. As Kṛṣṇa is unlimited, so each word and each syllable of Srimad Bhagavatam has unlimited meanings. One can understand these meanings through the association of devotees. Don't then say that Bhagavatam is simply a collection of answers to questions. Unquote. There were 6 questions put by the sages of Naimisharanya to Suta Goswami, and Suta Goswami answered the 6 questions in Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a verse in the Vedic literature in which Lord Shiva says, quote, "As far as the Bhagavatam is concerned, I may know it, or Shukadeva or Vyasadeva may know it, or we may not know it. But actually, Bhagavatam is to be understood by devotional service and from a devotee, and not by one's own intelligence or by academic commentaries." Unquote. At the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.23, the sages of Naimisharanya asked Suta Goswami, "Brohi Yogeshware Kṛṣṇe Brahmanye Dharma Varmani Svam Kastham Adhunopete Dharmakam Sharanam Gataha." Quote, "My dear sir, now that the Lord has departed for his own abode, kindly tell us whether the principles of religion have gone with him. How can we find such principles after his departure?" Unquote. The reply was given in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.43. Krishna svadhamo pagate dharma jnanadibhi saha kalaunashtadrisham eva puranarko dunoditaha. Quote, "After Krishna departed to his abode with all religious principles, his representation, Srimad Bhagavatam, the Mahapurana, remains as the blazing, illuminating sun. Wow. I heard that our line of disciplic succession, coming from Lord Chaitanya, is the one that really, like, we are notorious, or we are famous, or we are known for putting Srimad Bhagavatam as the central scripture. Lord Chaitanya then told Sanatana Goswami, quote, "I was just like a madman in describing this Atmarama verse in so many ways. Do not mind if I have said something mad. But if someone becomes a madman like me, he can understand the real meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam as I have explained it." Wow. But if someone becomes a madman like me, he can understand the real meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam as I have explained it. See, Lord Chaitanya, he's giving the example of the perfect devotee, isn't it? So sometimes you even see like devotees, like I've seen devotees like that they will be like in such ecstasy, like singing some kirtan or giving some katha, and then apologizing for their own blissful, ecstatic revelations, and then saying, it's like, it's just, this is something you can actually see, like even nowadays. I was just like a madman in describing this Atmarama verse in so many ways. Don't mind if I have said something mad. But if someone becomes a madman like me, he can understand the real meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam as I have explained it. I like this. Then Sanatana Goswami, with folded hands, fell at the feet of Lord Chaitanya and prayed as follows. My dear Lord, you have asked me to prepare a book on the regulative principles of devotional service, but I belong to the lowest caste. I have no knowledge. I do not know how such an important task can be finished by me. If you will kindly give me some hints about the preparation of such a book on devotional service, it may be that I shall be qualified to write it. Unquote. The Lord then blessed him, saying, quote, by the grace of Kṛṣṇa, whatever you write will come out of your heart and be accepted. As you have requested, I will now give you some notes that you can take down. The first and foremost point is that one should accept a bona fide spiritual master. That is the beginning of spiritual life. Lord Chaitanya then requested Sanatana Goswami to write down the symptoms of a true guru and the symptoms of a true disciple. The symptoms of a guru are described in the Padma Purana, and we shall read them tomorrow. Yes, so thank you so much for tuning in today. The link to this book is in the description. Please check out our website, shravanamdiaries.com. This was Shravanam Diaries podcast and your host Sulalita Devidasi. Hare Krishna.